So then, as we took a trip down memory lane, we got treated to a very wholesome and rather cute episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens. Hello everyone and welcome to Dueling with Downton, and today let's talk about episode 80 of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens anime series. A recap episode, which honestly I didn't think felt much like a recap at all. Hear me out. Thanks to the involvement of the Goha siblings, and of course Mimi, this episode felt really uplifting and did showcase a good amount of character growth from both the siblings' perspective and Mimi herself, as we got to witness her best qualities as a mother shine through. Also, we got Goha Yuuga lore and backstory. So all in all, we had a lot to dissect from this episode. We also got given a good amount of quotes that were all pretty amazing when spoken and paired nicely and smartly with the recapped clips that were shown. One example of a great quote from this episode was when they were talking about Goha Yuuga. Yoro stated that he was like darkness. He absorbed everything, both positive and negative. Or you can take any quote Mimi stated about the Goha siblings, because they perfectly described each and every character respectfully. Yuka's especially I thought was fantastic, as it described her passion as a raging inferno that will never be put out. Honestly, this was a fantastic line, made even better when paired with those animation clips that obviously were reused from past episodes, but it was used so much to elevate what was being said. With all that being said, this episode did carry with it a few themes, and one of those themes that ran throughout the episode itself was the idea of the siblings just being children. This episode really showcased this idea and theme throughout the actions and words that were presented by each and every character involved. The reason why Goha Yuuga turned into this evil and twisted duelist was because of what he witnessed as a younger child. He was very impressionable at that young age. He loved dueling, but upon seeing how aggressive and fearsome adults dueled on Earth, he went into this fight or flight mode, making him believe that he had to get stronger. It was either be the hunter before you become the hunted. This obviously at a very young age for Goha Yuuga was very damaging to him psychologically, and it does make sense. When we are younger, we do kind of take on what adults do present to us, because we see that as the norm. So Goha Yuuga doing this after seeing how these adults were dueling doesn't explain everything perfectly, but it does somewhat make you understand from his perspective a little bit more. Obviously, he just turned the dial up to 1,000,000. And seeing how this was Goha Yuuga's backstory, I thought this was both intriguing and fascinating, as you could see the split within his personality. Goha Yuuga obviously is the evil and aggressive side of this character, and that shines through when he's in the persona of Goha Yuuga. But then, the personality of himself that loves dueling and is pure-hearted is reflected in his time spent as Swirly. Therefore, we have this dynamic where it's almost as if once the Monster Reborn ritual was performed by Yuo on Goha Yuuga, Goha Yuuga kind of reverted back to his pure innocent state with all that passion he had as a younger child. But obviously, because they were trying to keep it a secret, it was presented in the way of Swirly. And speaking of that Monster Reborn ritual, it was great to finally get some confirmation on how the Goha siblings, the rest of them, lost their memories, as we all believed that Goha Yuuga did this act. However, it turns out from this episode that it's more the case that Yuo, upon sealing away Goha Yuuga, couldn't fully control the ritual, thus affecting everyone within the vicinity. So that's why all the siblings lost their memories of these events. And why Tiger remembered everything, because she wasn't there. As a side note relating to Tiger, This episode does answer Tiger's big secret, and unfortunately, no romance is involved. It turns out that she actually dueled Goha Yuuga firsthand when Goha Yuuga was starting this kind of rebellious, aggressive phase of dueling. Obviously making her big secret the fact that she personally dueled Goha Yuuga and she's experienced what he can do firsthand, and that's why she wanted to stop Yuuga and Luke from awakening him. The theme of just being children also got presented through the Goha siblings, the other ones, of course. And this was showcased through them struggling to find a solution to all of the issues within Goha. Which again makes sense, they don't have the experience of running a massive company, even if there are 5 of them. Or 4 of them and Yuo, who's pretty much just a toddler at this point. And from the sound of things, they've never really been given any clear instructions or guidance, or even help from their time in space. They said that they were chosen by a supercomputer located upon the moon, of all places, of course. And that's how it's been throughout the many generations upon generations. They've always chosen the next president of Goha through the supercomputer choosing. My first thoughts after hearing this, though, led me to believe that the supercomputer that was mentioned was obviously mentioned for a specific reason and will play into the final arc of SEVENS. A part of me thinks that Otis is the manifestation of the supercomputer's data, who ultimately chose the siblings and older Yuuga. In regards to Yuro, Yuka, Yujin, and Yudin, this episode gives us a bit more of their emotions and personality, from cheers to sorrows. And I really did appreciate this because it allows me as the viewer to connect with them a lot more and grow a liking towards more characters before I actually started watching the episode. After watching this, my views on the characters have improved. Another theme around the siblings were things like sorrow, regret, and of course the biggest one, family. These goofy siblings might have been chosen at random thanks to their potential and personalities, but you can't deny that they are a family and together they're stronger. Plus, they also look very apologetic when mentioning the fact they got Yuuga and his friends involved in their own mess and affairs. I love that they showed this because it shows them being observant and sympathetic towards the situation that our heroes are currently in. Although, technically, they really didn't force Yuuga into anything, as Yuuga was warned many times before, but refused to listen. The comedy segments with them all dressing up and acting like gangsters, though, was absolutely brilliant, and it did put a smile on my face. That was genuine. Plus, it was made even better by Mimi's reactions. I will say I found it more odd adjusting to the colours of the characters when we shifted back to their normal forms, because I really did like the colour swaps on both Yudin and Yuro. I think they looked a lot better. Obviously Yuka just looks fantastic in either form, but the red coat did suit her nicely. Now then, the main MVP of this episode was Mimi Itachi, and her motherly love shined through amazingly. So much that it gave off a warm, heartfelt and wholesome vibe to the episode itself. I loved how she started off as her normal greedy but career-driven self, thinking that she can trick the Goha siblings into leaving their president status behind, making her the next in line for the job. But then, as the episode went on, she realised just how much these kids have gone through and the struggles and tribulations they've had to overcome and endure. They're still facing all of these struggles as well, and Mimi understands that and wishes not to cause them any further discomfort or issues. So her motherlyhood kicks in and she begins to support them, being the perch that they can lean upon for support. Mimi even stated herself that she was not sure how to fix these issues at Goha. So by that logic, how could she even expect the siblings to have any idea on how to move forward with these current issues that they are facing. Instead of shouting or demanding that they do something or even leaving them, she embraces them and guides them, helping them by allowing them to understand why they were chosen, plus being the one to pick them up after they fall, believing that they themselves are not good enough. She's the one who inspires them to stand back up and to keep trying. Now Mimi even admitted the fact that they are good enough to be chosen over Mimi herself, because Mimi says she's a hard-working, career-driven lady and she wasn't chosen, but they were. Now this statement really does work alongside child psychology, because often children believe what adults are saying because they are more experienced and more knowledgeable about the world, and obviously children look up to adults. So Mimi saying this as an adult, telling them that they are better than her, would massively boost the confidence, which makes this sudden change of heart more realistic and kind of more heartfelt at the same time when watching it unfold. All I would say is though, we need a Mimi versus Goha Yuuga duel, where Mimi summons Diane Keto, the motherly giver, or something along those lines, and she loses. But her words would have some effect on Goha Yuuga, breaking through that outer edginess, I guess you could call it. So that when the other siblings step up to duel Goha Yuuga, in order to bring him back to the side of good, they'll have a slight advantage, because Goha Yuuga's heart would be swayed ever so slightly. Now finally, on Mimi's character, seeing her wear the Goha-chan outfit was super adorable. But how does she fit into that outfit? It looks way too big on her, because we know Mimi is quite a small character. Maybe she wore stilts? I just have to say though, Mimi, never change your character or personality, because you're a joy to watch each and every time you're on the screen. And this episode, you gave some heartfelt speeches, great motivation, and some brilliant comedic moments. Overall, this episode was very fun and enjoyable to watch. I had a blast from start to finish. However, with that being said, I can understand why some people might not like this as a recap. It was a massive change in tone, because we've gone to a more light-hearted and comedic style here, where the last episode was still quite dark and quite up in the air, with everyone losing their memories. We didn't get any more development on that front, so I guess people can be a little bit saddened by that. However, we did get Goha Yuuga flashbacks, information, plus all of that development and showcasing for the other siblings, so for that, I'm happy with it. Plus a 2-week break. That I'm not too thrilled about. But next episode, we get to see Goha Yuuga versus Otis. That should be a cracker. Not for the dueling side of things though, because I don't really get too excited for Otis dueling, but more so for the plot side of the series. I have no idea why Goha Yuuga wants to target Otis. Maybe if Otis gets Persona released, then Rush Duels will be gone forever. Because it's thanks to Otis's help that Rush Duels were created and Yuuga could install them in the first place. Or would Otis get turned into Seto Kaiba if he was Persona released? However, does what I say earlier on about him being the manifestation of the supercomputer on the moon get reinforced and confirmed? We'll have to wait and see. Let me know your thoughts on both this idea and of course the episode itself in the comments down below. Hope you've enjoyed this review. If you have, like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And of course, I'll be seeing you next time. Have a great day. Alligator matane. Goodbye.